I've been covering Gabriel Gage, also known as Nova Online, for multiple years now, and I can confidently say he hasn't gotten any better. Actually, the opposite, because recently Gabe was caught doing some of the worst stuff that he ever has, and we're gonna talk about it all today. For those who don't know who Gabe is, I highly recommend my previous videos on him, but a quick rundown would be that he is a TikToker that went famous for cringy videos, and was eventually exposed as a horrible Discord predator. But despite being exposed numerous times, Gabe continues to engage in predatory behavior. Well, Nova has once again been caught, and this time it was worse than ever. Around the end of February 2025, Nova would create another Discord server. Every other server that Nova tried to create before had fell apart disastrously, usually ending with him being exposed for having inappropriate conversations, along with facilitating an incredibly creepy environment with no age verification, and in that way this Discord server would be no different. What was unusual is that this time it seemed like Nova had help creating the server. His self-proclaimed fangirl Alice had made contact with Nova, and she would play a big role in this upcoming saga, which is only getting started. But at the time people weren't so sure, because within hours of Nova creating his Discord, it was already slapped with restrictions for somehow violating Discord's terms of service. These restrictions would cause both of Nova's mods, Alice and kiwitapes, to leave the server, which was deleted hours later. But this is far from the end of the 2026 Discord disaster, because Gabe would move right on to creating yet another server. This one was also not age restricted, and the second server was co-owned by an individual calling themselves Lucky, who we would later find out was a fellow sicko like Nova. Every single one of Nova's mods has been accused of some horribly creepy stuff, Alice included, but what I want to talk about first is probably one of the most infamous moments during this whole debacle, and that would be one of Nova's mods exposing himself in a voice chat. A guy calling himself Mr. Sean would do just that in Nova's Discord shortly after its creation. Mr. Sean was just behind Alice and Lucky on the totem pole when it comes to this Discord. He wasn't a random user, he had been given privileges. I also want to make it clear that there was a lot of other creepy discussion going on. This wasn't an isolated incident, and Gabe damn well knew that all of this was going to happen, especially with the increasingly degenerate cast of characters he's been surrounding himself with. I said in my last video that we would probably discuss this Nova Online fangirl at length in the next video, and I couldn't have been more right, because boy is Alice a piece of work. This whole situation starts with Alice posting her shrine to Nova on TikTok. Nova eventually finds out about this and makes contact with her, and she has been a close friend of his ever since, even starting a fake relationship with Nova. Now you're probably asking yourself, why would one do this? Well, there's three reasons really. First is what we learned through leaked DMs, where Alice admits that she was going to try to extort Nova for money, which I confidently believe that she's doing. Gabe has started a lot of mysterious fundraisers recently, and never delivered on any of the things he promised. He's also been claiming that the proceeds from his Novacord paracord bracelet business go to mental health charities, but has provided next to no proof of this. Alice's messages, as well as Nova's most recent thirst for cash, makes me believe that there is most definitely a financial aspect involved. But the second thing is that Alice views herself as some kind of troll. She has deep connections to a group that call themselves UTTP, or the YouTube Troll Police, and to call them a trolling group wouldn't be correct. From what I've heard, many of them are sickos themselves, who've been known to deal in the realms of CP, extortion, and extreme harassment. Alice claims that she's not a member, but there have been heavy ties to this group found in Nova's Discord servers. The list of terrible stuff they've they've done is long and most likely warrants a video of its own. But they are awful people, just like Nova. But that's not even who I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about Alice. I'm still not done. Alice doesn't just have heavy affiliations with UTTP. She also is a self-proclaimed gyno-fascist. I had absolutely no idea what this means, but basically it seems to mean that she hates all men. But it also seems that this particular group does really creepy stuff with their blood. It's some of the most disgusting stuff I've ever seen, so I'm not really shocked that her and Nova fit in together. Which leads me to my third point: Alice is absolutely crazy. When I started criticizing Gabe on Twitter, she and her friends sent me some of the most disgusting images I have ever seen in my entire life. It cannot be understated just how vile Alice is, and this is Nova's new best friend, along with all the other members of his mod team being creeps. Every last one of them has been accused of awful stuff, and there's proof to back it up. But these are all of Nova's buddies, and most likely the people who had talked him into starting a new server. Another reason I think Gabe did all this was because of the false confidence that his weight loss had instilled in him. Gabe believed that by losing the weight and people congratulating him, his reputation was starting to turn around. So he was emboldened to start more Discord servers. All of the people who congratulated him are also partly to blame. It just goes to show that if Nova could start again, he wouldn't change a thing. He would just open another Discord server and sully his reputation once more, which is exactly what he was doing with this newest run. Nova's second server wouldn't last long either. After the incident with the mod and realizing that they were being watched, most of Nova's mod team left the server, and Gabe did soon after. After all of this, Gabe would boot up a very rare live stream, this time playing Clash of Clans and dodging all of the tough questions.
In fact, we just got our first Raising Canes not too long ago. Applied there for a job, but didn't get accepted. Chat is off right now due to, I know people are gonna spam my comms with awful shit. Alright, I think my food's almost here, so I am going to hop off.
Around the end of February, Nova would also post a burger review, with some key pieces of information sprinkled throughout it. Pieces of information surrounding Nova's friend who had recently decided to cut him off.
I'm sad right now, and what's the best way to cheer me up? With food. So, basically, I'm going to see if it's worth it to just stick with an Arby's classic sandwich, or get the upcharge for a premium one. Starting with the beef and cheddar, and it looks like they skimped on the roast beef. Screw you, Coeur d'Alene Arby's.
Exclusive property of kiwitapes on YouTube. This friend of Nova's was actually pretty significant in his life. He had been responsible for buying some of the gifts that Nova was reviewing on stream, along with taking him to many places around town. But according to this friend, the newest Discord debacle was the last straw, and he would completely flip on Nova, doing an interview with one of Nova's most hated YouTubers, Bloodspeth, and revealing some pretty interesting information about their time together.
Saw that his lawn was like totally overgrown, like 4 feet tall in the front. So I was like, hey man, like I can help you with that. Like your lawn's not large. Like this is what friends do. Like let me help you with this thing that's obviously a daunting task. So that was really like the intro to us actually being like in-person friends. Super nervous, but also like totally unaware of how he's projecting his presence. I mean, and that extends to his hygiene, obviously. Like, his hygiene was, like, a consistent problem, and so it's just very strange to me where you're, like, this person who scared to look somebody in the eyes, but you're comfortable with, like, having a scent that is, you know, smellable from, like, 5 feet away. It's, like, really strange.
Was it really that bad?
Yeah, and I'm a big honesty guy. I don't like exaggeration just because I think it takes away from, like, you know, people who are actually just trying to understand you know, something or someone. So I'm not exaggerating when I say you can smell him from like 5 feet away. You know, it's like, would the world not be a better place if Nova was a better person? Like the obvious answer is yes.
I don't really know what to make of this guy. On one hand, he's giving a known predator hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in gifts out of what many believe to be some sort of savior complex, but he also did come forward to spill the beans on Gabe, which is what I think everybody in his life is inevitably going to do. Seems to burn through friends faster than Uncle Sauce, but not quite as quick as Discord servers. Nova would go on to create a third Discord server, yet again unage restricted. But Nova is barely present, and when he is, he's sending weird coded messages, ones that allude to him being blackmailed to create this server. His first coded message reads, "I'm being coerced. Don't join the new server." The description text reads, "I'm being blackmailed. I have to do this against my will." It didn't seem like Alice was the one blackmailing him because there were still posts about them being incredibly weird. Nova was also posting less than he had in a very long time, going days without posting a TikTok, which is very uncharacteristic of him. When he did seem to come out of hiding, it was on the Discord, where he would leave more coded messages. "I'm being blackmailed. Please leave. I was forced to do this against my will." And then another coded message. "Spam report the server so Discord shuts it down. It's the only way out of this mess." Personally, I assumed it was Alice blackmailing him, but Nova's reasoning turned out to be quite different. He said that the other mods in the server were threatening to dox Alice if he didn't do what they asked. Like, start another Discord server. I can't say for certain if that's the truth. One thing is for sure, Nova loves these servers. I doubt it took a lot of convincing, but he claims it was all to protect Alice. He would also publicly acknowledge that he knew the YouTube troll police were involved with CP, but that he was still in affiliation with them after learning about this. From what I can understand, multiple members of Nova's mod team are self-proclaimed UTTP, and these are the people that he's claiming are trying to blackmail Alice, and through her, him. All of this most likely orchestrated behind the scenes between Alice and these individuals. Despite his claims of being forced to start the server, Gabe would leave soon after posting these messages, and can you guess what he did? He started yet another server, with his mods rebranding the old server to a UTTP theme. But despite creating another server, it wouldn't last long, being deleted soon after, finally putting an end to what Smokey has dubbed the Discord disaster of 2026, and without a doubt one of the darkest chapters in Novine history. Actually, that isn't true, because what I'm going to talk about soon is arguably worse. For now, Gabe had gone back to posting, completely ignoring all of the horrible stuff that he had been involved in over the course of the past week, as well as completely ignoring a lot of other stuff.
Hey, all my 18 plus fans. So when I bring back Novacord, I want to do like a mystery paracord bracelet option. Do you think that would work out? So that way I have like lots of backstock that needs to be sold. So let me know. Stop, damn it!
I have seen a lot of discourse surrounding what is all over Nova's sheets and wall. Last episode, I gave my theory behind it, but I'm curious what you guys think it is. Let me know in the comments. Surely it's mug root beer. All jokes aside, Nova's house is starting to look like it was ripped right out of Resident Evil 7. The junk is worse than ever. It's become so obvious why Nova films all his videos outside, but he's slowly returned to filming his house, and it's pretty shocking.
That was probably dumber than the first I Got Mail I've done. But, yes. I just got a package from Amazon. And, I didn't order anything, so... Oh! That's nice. This is a Echo Pop with the Houston Texans logo on it.
Shockingly, the living room is nothing compared to Gabe's room, which is absolutely infested with flies. Keep a keen eye out in the clip I'm about to show you. Or don't, there's so many it doesn't really matter.
A few years ago, a pavilion opened up in my town with a whole bunch of food trucks and restaurants. Today, I ordered from one of those restaurants, so we're gonna try some of the food in this video. Let's start with the fried gyoza.
Exclusive property of the Novine universe on TikTok and YouTube.
The sauce is a little salty, a little sweet, a little spicy, while the gyoza is nice and crunchy, and the filling is chock full of flavor. It is a great fried dumpling, and you should definitely give gyoza a try sometime in your life. Now time for the Korean street tacos. I'm having a hard time picking these up. They're that stuffed full of meat and lovely sauce. Oh my god. The gochujang, nice and spicy. The slaw helps cut through that spiciness. Now let's try the dragon's breath chicken. Let's first start off with the rice. I mean, if you mess up rice, there's something wrong with you. Now we're going to try the pickled salad. It's good and fresh, but it needs more dressing. This shit has zero flavor. And now time for the chicken itself. Okay, they were not lying when they said dragon's breath. That shit is hot. Oh, well, I'm out. Let's try the Korean style barbecue.
Detractors would also start to point out that Gabe was losing some hair. Nova has always had his ear to the ground when it comes to criticism, and this time was no different. So along with the flies that were now a staple of his videos, came a rotation of hats.
I'm Sad Boy, so today we're gonna be seeing if this is the best barbecue in the Spokane area from Longhorn Barbecue. It's alright, needs more syrup. Alright, now let's try the baked potato that they did not give me the toppings for, so I had to complain to DoorDash.
Exclusive property of the Novine universe on TikTok and YouTube.
Nice and flavorful. Potatoes have the perfect texture for me, and tastes just about as good as Dickie's potato salad.
The past few months, Gabe would have you believe that he's been on a health journey, losing a substantial amount of weight and sticking it to the trolls. But I can't help but point out that he has done some damage to his body. Whatever happened to him, or he did to himself to lose all of that weight so fast, seems to have taken a toll. And whatever it was that was working is seemingly wearing off. If I'm being honest, I wouldn't talk about all this if I didn't need just a slight palate cleanser before I get into the next topic, because it's that event I was talking about earlier that might be one of the darkest moments in Novine history. March 10th, the Nova Hub leaks. Nova had created a video on an adult website. This video was public, and Nova exposed himself in it. The description of this video read, "Taking a break from watching South Park, so I can come." This video had been public for about a week. Nova still hasn't given his reason behind posting it, but it's one of the most horrifying things I've seen in my entire life. But how would Gabe respond to this monumentally embarrassing moment? Well, as he usually did, dancing around the subject, never really getting into the nitty-gritty. He seemed more focused on his former friend who had completely abandoned him and done that interview. But the TikTok audience had not forgotten. Nova's comments sections are now flooded with pictures of South Park and other disgusting shit. This is without a doubt one of Nova's most embarrassing moments, so I really doubt he's gonna address it much. One thing that he was open to discuss was a podcast offer that he had recently received from none other than Gilberto, the Leaping Lemur. Disgraced lolcow commentator Leaping Lemur would reach out to Nova in the wake of all of this horrible stuff that he had done, and even Gabe would turn him down, talking about the offer in a community post. Gilberto, Creeping Lemur, Cardona invited me to do a podcast, and I respectfully say no. I'll do my podcast with someone who wasn't accused of disgusting actions. That is the definition of the pot calling the kettle black. Lemur used his minuscule internet fame to prey upon a vulnerable fan, getting her drunk and taking advantage of her. Gabe wants to do the same thing, just hasn't done it in real life. That doesn't mean he's any less of a sicko, but I find it so ironic that Lemur has recently been talking about how he's not like Nova, and now we have Nova talking about how he's not like Lemur. I'm sure I'll drop a Lemur video sometime in the future. I just feel like that story hasn't quite ended yet, because old Gilberto is still clearly spiraling. But this is a Nova Online video, and I really don't know what to say about the situation since I can't steal all of my commentary from Lemur. So here's another clip of Gabe's disgusting house.
Let's compare the biggest cracker company possibly in the world, Triscuits, to these almond flour rice crackers from Misfits Market. They are just both sea salt. Let's try the Triscuits first. They are already open because my mom has done a disappearing act on these things. It's one of the best crackers in my opinion. Now let's try these almond flour rice crackers, which have a little bit more salt. It's like chewing on cardboard. Nope.
The flies, the clutter, it's absolutely nuts. Once again, all jokes aside, I think that house is one step away from being condemned. Not only is it an eyesore on the neighborhood, which is in a trailer park, but it's also horribly unsafe. I've seen exposed wire, clutter, animal waste. Truly believe that that house is unsavable. And if I'm being completely honest, I think the same for Gabe. He has time and time again proven that he is a Discord predator. So prolific that he has even reached the attention of Chris Hansen, the godfather of predator hunting.
Gabriel Gage, he's a notorious online predator. No, but...
You know, I've heard that name, and I need to dig into that a little deeper, but that's come my way a few times. I promise you I'll take a look at it.
I love how he doesn't say Nova Online, he says Gabriel Gage, and that he's heard the name before. If I'm being honest, I think Chris would be perfect to get to the bottom of all this. This last Discord incident has proven that Gabe is truly a danger to society, not only preying upon people himself, but also leveraging his internet infamy to create spaces where other people can be preyed upon. And I also think the only things holding Gabe back currently are his own laziness and financial destitution. He is very much capable of far worse. The cherry on top of all this is that Gabe has the audacity to call himself a mental health advocate while actively making tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people's mental health worse. He walks around calling himself a mental health advocate like it's a badge of honor, like he's some kind of hero sacrificing himself for others.
I'm sad boy again. As per usual. Shocker, I know. I just want to stop and say reasons like this are the reason that I am a mental health advocate, so no one has to go through my same pain. And don't forget that all proceeds in Novacore Paracord goes straight towards mental health charities to help with this. Anyways, back to the video. I'm gonna make this a series called Sad Boy Eats. Basically, I'm Sad Boy, I eat.
Exclusive property of the Novan universe on TikTok and YouTube.
This is how utterly delusional Gabe is. He made multiple Discord servers that he used to communicate with minors and facilitate other people to do the same, posted a disgusting video to the internet, most likely sharing it in said Discord servers, and continuing to affiliate with worse characters. Gabe is without a doubt at his worst. The Discord servers may be gone, but Gabe started a Telegram in its place, which is even worse than a Discord. And to me, it's just further proof that he has stuff to hide. But I'm still kind of in disbelief at how quickly all of this happened. Within the span of a couple of weeks, almost every day Nova was getting exposed. By himself, literally and metaphorically, by his former friend, and by countless people who were monitoring the situation. And before we end today's video, I'd like to thank some of them, because without their work, today's video wouldn't be possible. I want to thank Solidus Nova and Kelsey over on Twitter, along with all of the people that added them and shared posts over there. It was very informative when it came to Nova's Discord. I'd also like to thank Bloodspeth and Chin Universe for that great interview with Nova's former friend. I'll put a link to the full version in the description. I have no doubt that we'll all be back talking about Gabe again, but I have no idea how he could top any of this. What scares me the most, though, is I know he's gonna.